Hello everyone, I'm Hone, and welcome to the second video of Aether Revolt Limited Review Week. Yesterday I gave you guys my picks for the best commons and uncommons in white. Today we're going to do the same for black. Tomorrow we will continue with blue, and so on. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. At number 3, as a number 3 black common, I have Aether Poisoner. I think this is a solid card. Creatures with Death Touch are frequently quite good because of their ability to trade with anything, and Aether Poisoner does that for you while also coming with some upside. She brings energy along with her, which can be used on anything, and there's lots of ways to use it as we learned in Kaladesh, and she has the ability to generate a servo token when she attacks. Something that won't be all that hard if your opponent has a bunch of creatures who they don't want to die to Death Touch. Still, Aether Poisoner isn't a high pick at all in Aether Revolt packs, but I think you'd be happy to have one or two in most of your black decks. At number 2, I have Cruel Finality. Being able to give a creature -2/-2 at instant speed is great. Sure, you can use it as a straight removal spell to kill a creature with 2 toughness, but being able to do it at instant speed also gives you the flexibility to block a 4/4, like let's say Pima Outrider, with your 3/3 and kill it. The scry tacked on to the end makes the card even better. Cruel Finality doesn't quite reach the level of what I would call a premium removal spell because it doesn't just deal with anything or deal with things at an incredibly efficient rate, but it is still a pretty good card, and if you see them after the 5th, 6th, 7th pack, black is probably pretty open, and you'd be happy to, I think, have, again, one or two of these in basically any black deck. However, the number 1 common in black is something I would describe as premium removal, Daring Demolition. While sorcery speed and sort of clunky, 4-mana spells that just kill a creature, no questions asked, are always pretty good. But some of the downside of not being instant speed in Kaladesh block, which is the fact that you can't destroy a vehicle, is mitigated by the fact that Daring Demolition can in fact just go after vehicles. And Daring Demolition is a card I would feel okay about first picking, though certainly not overjoyed because it is a little bit clunky, but it is still the kind of card that can just change the game around for you because you can just kill your opponent's best creature with it. It also isn't an easy removal spell to splash in base green decks thanks to the double black casting cost, and that is something to keep in mind. Now, on to the uncommons. Black is pretty stacked at uncommon, and I think first picking any of these cards would be at worst a decent way to start your draft. At number 3, I have Gifted Aetherborn, who is basically a Vampire Nighthawk without flying, and that's a pretty good compliment. Death Touch and Lifelink are both very good keyword abilities, and this vampire will sometimes just be able to keep swinging and gaining you life if your opponent isn't willing to trade. The ability to trade with anything, no matter how big, on a very efficient 2-mana body is just great. 2 keywords and a 2/3 body for 2 mana is insane, actually. Gifted Aetherborn's downside is its double black casting cost, and you probably can't really expect to actually play this on turn 2 consistently without 10 or so black mana sources. Certainly the black uncommon on this list I would be least happy to start my draft with, but I think that is an indication of how good other black commons are rather than a knock against Gifted Aetherborn. The second best black uncommon is Vengeful Rebel. A 3-mana 3/2 isn't the worst downside or fail case, and when you can trigger Revolt, this card becomes incredibly good, capable of killing a decent number of creatures in the format, and almost guaranteeing you a 2-for-1 because it'll kill something and then trade with something, or eat a removal spell. Revolt, while certainly asking you to jump through a hoop, isn't asking you to do anything crazy. Just attack with a creature and get your opponent to trade, or sacrifice a permanent to one of many effects in the set that allow you to, or blink a creature. There are lots of ways to have permanents leave the battlefield, and Vengeful Rebel becomes amazing when you have Revolt going. I would not mind first picking a Vengeful Rebel at all. However, there is a black uncommon that I would be even happier to first pick because it's pretty ridiculous, and that is Fatal Push. I'm sure you have already heard the buzz around Fatal Push for Constructed. It is the most efficient black removal spell ever printed, which is kind of insane, and will likely see play just about everywhere. And while it isn't quite that broken in Limited, since curves are higher and can get out of range of the push, it is still pretty great in Limited. Paying 1 mana to kill a 2-mana creature is pretty good already and would probably be a medium playable, but with Revolt, things really get crazy and you get to start killing things like Pima Outrider or any other 4-mana creature for a single black mana. Fatal Push is a card you should always be happy to first pick. That does it for today's Aether Revolt Limited Review video. Tomorrow I'll be back with more. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button. If there are any other cards from the set you want to discuss, you can post them in the comments below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Also, if you want to make sure you catch the rest of my Aether Revolt Limited review, as well as the Aether Revolt draft videos that will be coming in the future, don't forget to subscribe. Additionally, my content is in part sponsored by 5colorcombo.com. If you haven't checked it out before, you should. They have great MTG content from various creators, as well as a great app for practicing drafting. They also have a store where you can use my discount code NITSAHONE5 to get a 5% discount, so go check it out. Thanks for watching.